Good morning, grade 5. This is Mr. B calling in here. And today we're looking at comparing and ordering fractions again and decimals. And yeah, we're just going to keep going through this and looking at it. So I have your work page brought up here, but I'm not actually going to work on your work page that much as I'm going to use these number lines, because it's a lot easier to use the number lines given here than to draw my own, which will be kind of like this. And then, deciding where exactly I'm going to put it. Oh, that would be absolutely terrible. So instead, I had a genius idea. Why don't I use the number lines already available? And they're already split the way I want. Perfect. So yeah, today we're going to be dealing with some of this stuff. So this line here is kind of divided in half, and we also have the ticks for all the decimal points. So to start off, we're just going to add in all the different decimals for each mark. So this is 2 tenths, so these are tenths, right? Because there's one digit after. 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. Oh no, I can't count. What is this? Sorry, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, and 9 tenths. It's actually 7 a.m. in the morning, so I'm just starting this brain up. Anyways, thought I'd get done early, but obviously there are some side effects. So, what number in the decimals is equal to half? Well, it's 0.5. This is equal to half. Now, there's a way that we can show that these are equivalent, right? Because 0.5 is actually, in fraction form, it is 5 over 10. And we can show this like this. Let's show that. How about, so 1 half. How do we make it into 10? Well, we times this by 5. And then we times this by 5, right? And that equals, right, 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 5 is 5. And perfect, so we can see that they are equivalent. So yeah, this is also means 1 half, and in decimal form that is 0.5. So that's perfect. And now the other thing we can find here is that anything below 0.5 is smaller than the half, and anything above 0.5 is greater than half. Now this includes if we had hundredths here, but we're not dealing with that yet. But yeah, if there was like 0.51 is greater than 1 half, right? Because it's 1/100th bigger than a half. So that is true, and then so all the way up, and then even 0.49 is smaller than 1 half. So that's how we do it. Now, when we go on from here, we can compare the fractions and quarters. So look at here. We'll do the same thing. Here we have a line divided up into quarters, and I will just quickly go 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. So we see here that there's lots of good numbers now. All the decimals are in place, and that 4 quarters makes a whole, and 10 tenths makes a whole. So again, we're just comparing, so we know that these are equivalent. Now we might notice something with the other ones. In tenths, there's nothing here, right? There's nothing here, but we can go and get, we're gonna go and see how we could count it in hundredths. So in hundredths, there's more ticks, and it actually does line up with the tick. So that's great. And we can show how that works. But for our purposes right now, we can just compare them on a kind of a line here, right? So this one, 0.2, is that bigger or smaller than 4.1? Well, or 4 quarters, or 1 quarter, sorry. well, you can see that it is going to be smaller because 1/4 shows up further on the number line than 0.2. And the same with 3/4. Is 3/4 bigger than 0.8? No, 0.8 is bigger than 3/4 because you see that it's further on the number line. And 0.7 is smaller than 3/4 as it's further back on the quarter line, and we can actually figure out all this stuff here. So after that being all said and done, we can you could come here and fill in all these, and that would be super fun. And remember that if you find something like this, that this can be converted into a decimal, and it will help you figure it out, right? Oh, that's not what I wanted. So finally, well, not finally, but finally, oh, why is everything else popping up? Oh man, there is so much stuff. Okay, so this one here is just to tell you this is 100th line, so we can just put in our hundredths, main ones, 0.20, 0.30, 0.40. Well, that kind of looks like a 9, but you'll bear with me. 0.50, 0.60, 0.70, and 0.80, 80, and 0.90. Now these quarters, so 1/4, you'll see here, comes down right slap bang in the middle, and that one is 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we would have 0.25 or 25 hundredths is right here. So this one equals 0.25, and this one here actually equals 0.75. And remember, with our wholes, we could have actually figured that out, right? So if you know that 1 is equal to 1/4 is equal to 25, right? 3/4 would just be times 3, and that is going to be equal to 75, and it's 0.75, but that's even more in depth. But we can show that this is actually equivalent, right, here and here, because 3 times 4, well, if we times, the only thing that will make this into a 100 or a tens or 1,000 is if we times it by 25. Now we could actually times it by 2.5, but that is getting way too complicated for this here. So 225, and that equals 100, and 3 times 25 equals 75, and you can check this on calculators, and yeah, 75 over 100, and that's how you get it, and they're equivalent, right? So this is the right spot, and they're equivalent. So now when you're dealing with even in the hundredths, you can still figure it out. Like something like this one's going to be equal, and this one here, we know that this is equal to 25, so 1/4, is it bigger or smaller than that? Well, this is equal to 0.25 decimals, right? And so we know that 26 is bigger than, or 26 hundredths is bigger than 25 hundredths. So there we have it. Now, just to go back up, we are going to quickly go back up. We can use this line up here for our sake. So we are going to do some fifths. I'm going to put some fifths in just to help us see one last thing, so we can compare them with a bunch of different fractions. So fifths, let's take a look. Well, the first fifth is going 1/5 is right here. Second fifth is 2/5, and then you can have 3/5 and 4/5, and obviously 1 whole. Okay, so there you have it. Now these ones, luckily better than quarters, they actually fit right nice and snug on the line. So they're kind of easy to see. Now I could just show you a bit better. I'll erase all this to make sure that we are understanding everything. Loop, 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 all of it going away. So 1.5 or 1/5 is equal, it says it's equal to 0.2. That's what I've shown you there. Now, just to prove this, I'll show you that we can put this into tenths. So 1/5 times 2 times 2 is equal to 10 over, or 2 over 10, so 2/10. And so here this is displaying 2/10, and then we find it, and then we have this is also the same, and you can see that it goes up by 0.2 every time, and that's just like adding another 2/10 on each time, or 1/5 added each time. So that's really good to know. So here again, you might be asked a question, is 1/5 bigger than 0.1? And you'd say yes. And if you were asked if 1/5 bigger than 0.3, you'd be like no, because 0.3 is bigger, and then equivalent with 0.2. And then if they do get tricky on you and ask any hundreds, you'll know that if it's over 0.2, then it is definitely bigger, and if it's under 0.2, even if it's 0.19, that is smaller than 1/5. So yeah, this is just all about comparing fractions and everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I hope that it was good, and that you'll be able to have fun. I have a fun video coming up for you. I've been working a little bit on it, giving you a sneak peek today. So here is the sneak peek of the video to come.